Hi everyone, Tom Wolf here, and in this video I'll be showing you how to create this simple electric piano in Pigments. This is a preset called Open Roads and it was included in the Synth Vault in July 2022. If you're a Pigments user and you want to download brand new free presets every single month, then head to synthvault.net. Let's have a look at how to create this preset. So let's start with engine 1, and we're going to be using the Wavetable engine for this, and we're going to use a wavetable called Additive Int 1, which you'll find under the Building Waves category. We're then going to set the position to 0.056, so just off of the start point, and that gives us this sound. So it's got quite a kind of pure organ style sound to it at the moment. This wavetable sound is pretty close to a sine wave in this point. As you can see, we've kind of got our peak and our trough here, but instead of having it working smoothly, we've actually got these kind of just dips in the center there. So what that does is it kind of adds just a few extra harmonics on top of that pure kind of sine wave sound, which is why we're getting that kind of organy kind of tone to that there. We've also got a little bit of envelope shaping happening here as well. So we've got the attack set to 2.2 milliseconds, which is just to take off that kind of clicky start there. We've got the decay set to just under a second, 871 milliseconds. We've got the sustain down to 0.8, which means that we're going to get a slight dip in volume after we press the key. And then we've got an incredibly quick release time there. So that is set to 20 milliseconds. So you can see when I press a key, we're getting that dip in volume straight away, thanks to the sustain being set slightly lower. We'll then come over to our engine 2, and engine 2 is set to a wavetable, and we've got it set to the basic waveforms wavetable. And the position of this one is set all the way to the start, so we're just getting a pure sine wave on this engine. We're not using any kind of frequency or phase mod here either, so we're just getting that really soft sine wave sound. We've then also got a sine wave set up on our utility engine. So we've got the oscillator turned on here, set to sine wave, and then we've got the coarse tuning set to 12 semitones. So this is going to be playing an octave up. We can now add these three engines together, and you'll hear it sounds like this. So by adding these sine waves to this additive wavetable, engine 2 is giving us a bit of depth to the sound. That's giving us just a little bit more weight to it. And then the utility engine, which is set to an octave up, is giving us a nice kind of octave overtone. So we're starting to get this really nice, clean electric piano sound emerging here. So next, let's turn on the filter. And here we're only using filter 1, and we're using it with the matrix 12 setting here, okay? We've got it set to low pass 24 mode. We've got the cutoff set to 138 Hertz here. We've got a little bit of resonance, just under 0.1. And then we've got a lot of keyboard following happening here as well, because it's a piano. We wanted to get the same kind of consistent sound across the keyboard. So we've got that set to 0.42. So now that we've got that cut off, removing all the top, we're going to get a very dark sound. But what we're going to do is we're going to modulate the cutoff with envelope 2. So if you come over here to envelope 2, we can switch that on, and you can see we've got the filter 1 cutoff being modulated by 0.49 here. So now when we press the key, we're starting to get that kind of clicky electric piano shape there. And this is because of our envelope. So on our envelope 2, we've got a 3 millisecond attack, again just kind of taking the edge off the initial attack. We've got the sustain set all the way down to 0, so our decay is in full play here, and at the moment it is set to 1.85 seconds, and then we've got a release time of 100 milliseconds. What we are doing here though is we're controlling the amount here with our velocity. So you can see we've got this side chain, the filter 1 cutoff modulation side chained with our velocity, and it's set to 0.5. So that means the softer we play, the less our filter cutoff is going to open. And of course, the harder we play, the more of that filter cutoff is going to open. So we're going to get a brighter sound with the heavier playing. So we're now starting to get some dynamics into this, which of course is incredibly important if you want to have a nice expressive piano sound. We've also got our amp mod velocity control up over here. That's set to 0.728. So that means what you hear here is we're also getting control over the volume of it. So the harder we play, the louder the sound is, and the softer we play, the quieter the sound is. So if we just turn that off, you'll hear the difference. So we're still getting the kind of darkening of the sound on the softer notes and the brighter sound on the hard note. But we're getting very consistent dynamics there. So by turning this up, we're just making it a little bit more kind of expressive. We're also using our velocity to control our envelope 2 decay. So this is the envelope that is controlling our filter. And if we come down to the velocity setting over here, we can switch that on. So you can see we've got envelope 2 decay controlling our decay here, and that's set to 0.20. So you can see this little area here that's going to be affecting. So what that means is the heavier we play, the longer it's going to take for our filter cutoff to close up. So that means it's going to stay brighter for longer, whereas when we play softer, it's going to darken much quicker. So you can see that happening here on our envelope, and it's taking a long time to decay when I press heavily. So we're getting a lot of expressiveness out of our velocity controls here to make this a really kind of playable piano sound. So that is the bulk of our sound, but I'm going to add this kind of ambient reverb to it so that we can make it more of a kind of ambient, spacious sound. So to do that, we're going to come over to the effects, and we've got this set up on the auxiliary. I'm not going to look into these effects because these are set up on our macros, and of course you can just add effects to your macros to your own taste if you would like to. But I am going to show you the auxiliary here. So we'll come down here. Let's turn on our tape echo, and at first we're not going to hear it because we've got our return set all the way to 0, but that is because I'm controlling that with macro 4 here. So if I turn macro 4 up, we're getting this nice vintage tape echo sound. So the dry wet mix there is set to 62%, so we're not getting a fully wet tape echo signal on our auxiliary there. I've got the time set to quarter notes, fine tuning is set to 0, input volume is set to 0, the intensity is turned up to 0.350, and we've got ping pong on here as well, and stereo width is set to 0.7. So that's just going to add a little bit of kind of delay and chorusing modulation there. And then that is going to feed into our reverb, which is set to 100% wet, which means that our auxiliary is going to be a purely wet reverb signal. So we've got the size set to 0.770. We've got a pre-delay all the way up to 58 milliseconds. We've got the delay set to just under 0.7. A bit of damping there, so 0.675. We've got the stereo width set to 0.5. We've got a slight bit of high-pass filtering going on there, so that's set to 200 Hertz. And then the low-pass filter is set to 15,000 Hertz. So we've now got this warping ambient sound on the tail. So when we press our key and let go, we've got this really luscious ambience, and that is because we're getting this kind of chorusing effect happening in our tape echo, and then that is feeding into the reverb, which is giving us that nice long decay tail. So that was how to create the preset Open Roads from scratch. If you're a Pigments user and you want to download brand new free presets every single month, then head to synthvault.net now. Before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell to be notified about my next tutorials. Until next time, take care.